Bugger me. I expected danger, but not a hell-spawned bleeding nightmare-made flesh like that. Didn't stop you and your mates, though, did it? That's some crew you got there, no mistake. Treasure. Right then. Let's have a look inside that dirty great coffer type thing. Someone tells me it's filled to the brim with booty. Something tells me it's filled to the brim with something dangerous. Don't look at me. I never moved a muscle. Diabolos. What in the seven else is that bastard doing? This way! Swiftly now! Can anyone else see that talking cat over there? Bloody hell, this adventure is getting queerer by the minute. Still, I'd rather take me chance with a predating puss than staying here. Get your things, mateys, we're leaving. But what about the loot? You can spend it when you're dead. We either follow the furball or make friends with a spell-slinging voidborn. Your choice. God damn it. How's an honest sky pirate meant to make a living? These chains breaking can't be good, right? Different viewpoint of a Voidark? The ship's breaking up. Is he trying to bring her down? Another set of chains right now. The Void is attempting to initiate a dimensional displacement, but the gate, it cannot possibly be large enough for the entire ship. The Queen's coffin! He takes it beyond our reach! And now the ship's going down, right? Whatever that was, it was important. Well, there don't see much point hanging around here. Let's get back to solid ground. What kind of cat is that anyway? What was it doing on that ship? How long has it been since my paws have trodden aught but those cursed decks? Would have it made landfall under better circumstances? My poor heart. It's a pity about the loot and no mistake, but at least you made it out in one piece. As the captain's so fond of saying, you can't spend it when you're dead. Aye, this was a bit touch and go in places, I grant you, but here we are. But here we all are, and then with our bits still attached. This calls for a foaming flagon of... Hold on. Are we missing someone? Did you tell Tata to wait for us here? Never fear. We've been keeping the girl company. But enough about her. Did you see the cannon on that ship? As you know, my dear Leopard, I'm not so easily moved, but the sheer power on display set me all a-quiver. Well, I hope you're content to admire it from afar. That vessel ain't for the likes of you and me. Do not presume to measure me by your own limitations. Besides, I believe I've shown how resourceful I can be. Which brings me neatly to the point. You have in your possession a device capable of tracking the ghost ship. Hand it over, or your engineer shall suffer the consequences. Perfect. A compass pointing the way to my just reward. A weapon like that belongs in the hands of one with a will to use it. Come, lads. Our business here is concluded. I'm sorry, Captain. They caught me off guard. You get a bang on the head or something? The man I know would never give in to scum like her without a fight. Unless... What did you do to the compass? Oh, me? Not. Besides slipping a link pearl into the casing like... So long as Radia keeps it close, and you can be damn sure she will, we'll know exactly what them thieving bastards are planning. Anyone care to wager how long it'll take for her to notice my little gift? That's very clever and all. How were you proposing to stop her from getting her hands on that derelict and its great big cannon? I ain't worked that part out yet, but I suspect it'll start with us keeping a close eye on the talents. Before we get into any of that though, I've got some questions what need answering. You wish to know more of a Voidark, the ghost ship as you call it? The Voidark, so that's its proper name. Aye, I'd like to hear whatever you'd care to tell us, Puss. And I, for my part, am curious to hear your stories. Ere we continue, however, I must insist that you address me by my proper name, Kashi. I will not respond to Puss or Cat, and most decidedly not Furball. My tale begins long ago in the city of Mhach, which once stood in the lands of XIV. The sorcerers of Mhach were masters of destructive magics, and they brought their terrible power to bear against Amdapor and Nim in the War of the Magi. The titanic forces they unleashed, however, took a heavy toll upon the land, ultimately resulting in a colossal flood that drowned the realm of Eorzea, a catastrophe which my master, High Void Mage Chassair, was wise enough to foresee. Wait, colossal flood? Are you talking about the Sixth Umbral Calamity? I suppose you would know it as such. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. When they learned of the fate that awaited them, the Magi began constructing a gargantuan vessel that would bear their people to the skies and to safety. The operation of a Voidark, as the ship came to be called, was entrusted to Chassair. Prior to that, of course, my master had been a prisoner in her own home, confined for her outspoken opposition to the war. So the Ark was meant as a sanctuary. Then how did it come to be so, I mean, what happened to all the people? And where did all the void sand come from? By what power do you imagine such a massive craft remain afloat? The energy required to raise the Ark was siphoned from over 1,000 otherworldly servants sealed within the vessel. Advances in Makai sorcery were made for one reason, and one reason only: cataclysmic destructive power. And the swiftest and most dangerous method of acquiring said power was through the enslavement of void-sent entities. So, the creatures on the derelict, they broke free of your master's control? At the very heart of the Ark, the Void Mages had entombed the great ruler of the Void Sand, Scathach, the Shadow Queen. But in order to control so potent a prisoner, a mage of adamant will was required. And being Mhach's preeminent sorcerer, Chassair was deemed best qualified. But otherwise, my master might never have been released from her imprisonment. Yet even with Chassair's peerless skill, the Shadow Queen could not long be subjugated. One after another, the lesser voids awoke and ran rampant within the ship. In the end, Chassair and the 53 Void Mages aboard the Ark sacrificed their own life energies to return the fiends to their coffins, leaving me, a lowly familiar, to watch over a derelict prison. If I remember me Umbral errors right, the stuff you just described happened more than 1500 years past, which is a good while by anyone's measure. And since everything seems to have been quiet on board your boat till just recently, I'm thinking somewhat unusual must have happened to wake the inmates up. Am I wrong? One day, a voidsend that had taken the shape of a bat flew into the ship. At first it was little more than a nuisance that I brushed away, but the longer it remained on the Ark, the stronger it seemed to become. Eventually I could not contend with its power, and it began shattering seal after seal. I fought it before, but I thought I killed it. You faced this bat-winged fiend before? It would seem then that the creature survived the encounter, and that he intends to celebrate his restoration by liberating his queen. Well, that explains that then, except for one small detail, namely where the queen's coffin went. After it fell out of the ship's belly, I'm assuming it didn't just disappear, right? You recall the great rift the Ark's cannon ripped in the sky? That was a void gate. Such a portal opens a temporary path through the void, allowing the ship to travel almost instantaneously from one location to another. The void send, as you saw, only opened a gate large enough to displace the coffin. As for the coffin's destination, however, that is as much a mystery to me as it is to you. I beseech you, conquerors of the Ark, help me find the queen's coffin, and the wards binding Scathach are dispelled. Smells to me like an adventure, and who knows what ancient Mhachite treasures we might stumble on along the way? God knows. They'll make a nice change from all them elegant tombstones we've been collecting. That is true. We're collecting a lot of those. Aye, we'll help you. I'm not risking me hide for the sake of the realm, you understand. But I'll be damned if I let either Radlier or that bat-winged bastard take the freedom of the skies from me. You care only for how you might be inconvenienced? If the Shadow Queen were to return, it would have dire consequences for this entire star. Count your blessings, Furball. I felt it helped, didn't I? Before we go rushing off in search of that coffin, though, there's preparations to be made. You might as well get back to your usual heroic employment. Serenia, I'll let you know when it's time to round up your mates again. Time is nigh, my dear talents. Soon we shall seize control of the ghost ship and all its power, and rule the skies from here to the ends of the world. Didn't we just hear that ship has been stripped of its energy source? So, say no to that plan, I guess. Now, Stacy, what's going on next? The Weeping City. Serenia, I was just about to fly out to Ishgard and track you down. You remember Cait Sith, that Mhach familiar? We've been working with him on a plan to find Diabolos and the Queen's coffin. There have been void sense sightings from pirates all over, so we know that Batwing Bugger's hiding someplace in the sky. We just don't know exactly where. And as for going about pinpointing the location, Leofard and the Freeline are bickering over just exactly how. That's where you come in. If you have a spare moment or two, we could use a third opinion to break the stalemate. Besides all that, Leofard is eager to have another hand to help in the search, so come on over to the parrot as soon as you're able. You know the way from here, don't you? By using the Red Bill Standard. You fly there. Thanks for coming. The captain and the cat are inside, still having that discussion. Talk to Leofard, will you, before I strangle the both of them? If you're here to ask about the Queen's coffin, then you'd best turn around and walk straight out again. This aggravating furball turned my mood sour as a month-old alt-gold milk. Leofard, Serenia has come all this way to help us, at your request, I might add. She deserves to hear where we stand at the search, at least. The search is giving me Alkas, is what it is. By all reports, Diabolos is lurking somewhere in the heavens, building up his forces. But the sky is a vast dome, as high as the ocean is deep, and we have not the pirates to scour every damn floating rock. That's when I tried my luck with Radlia. You remember her, don't you? Captain of the Talons, blonde hair, one eye, stole our bloody compass? Well, I've been eavesdropping with that link pearl I slipped into the case and hoping to catch something useful. But all I've heard from her and the sorry crew is snoring, grumbling, and japes about the Archbishop's holy nevers. In the end, it seems we have no choice but to do this the hard way. But a certain mewling annoyance refuses to acknowledge the truth of it. You cannot possibly hope to investigate the entire sky with this meager handful of ne'er-do-wells. I find my suggestion to seek aid from your fellow pirate gangs a perfectly reasonable one under the circumstances. A stow it, you mangy alley cat. You have not the faintest idea of how sky pirates operate. Best case scenario, we'd be locked into a deal to hand over any treasure we'd find. And that's assuming we weren't laughed out of a room to begin with. You cannot assume every man and woman shares your base morality. If we but made the attempt, I'm sure we could convince some few of the nobility of our cause. And so it goes round and round. Knowing pirates as I do, I find myself siding with a captain on this. But what of you, Serenia? Any thoughts on the matter? Okay, on one side I can see Leofard's point, but I can also see Kashi's point. We can't do this alone, at least not by looking blindly. But seems that even the great warrior of light has no simple solutions for this problem. However we tackle things, well, we have a long road ahead of us. I see if I can't think up a better way to shorten it. You might as well head back to your adventure, Serenia, unless you're willing to lend us your experience in another matter, that is. Utata, our chief engineer, has been mumbling about the Voidark and cursing under her breath for days. Might be as you can provide some insight into her dilemma. She's conducting her research in the Sea of Clouds, yes? Well, I should rather discuss the properties of a Voidark than continue with this fruitless debate. I shall see you down there, Serenia. Leofard's right not trusting aught to our fellow pirates, but we could spend years trawling through the clouds. There has to be some other way. Exactly. That is my point exactly. You can't trust them, but you can't do it by blindly looking around. While waiting for word on Diabolos, I've been spending my time learning to pilot the Red Bill's little airships. Thankfully, it seems I've mastered enough of the basic to manage this little jaunt. Mayhap I could make contact with some other pirates without Leofard's mediation. But let us first address Mistress Utata's woes, shall we? What troubles you, Mr. Utata? We were told that some matter regarding the Voidark was causing you no small amount of grief. Cuddling. Mistress Utata, what are you... I feel so much better now. My apologies, Kashi. You had the misfortune to enter my field of view just as I felt the intense desire to squeeze something warm and furry. It's this damnable ectocompass. I made another one, you see, identical in all respects to the first compass that Radia stole. But look, it points in a completely different direction to where the Voidark should currently be. I don't understand what I did wrong. I used the same plans, the same parts? I can imagine that would be infuriating. And you are certain there are no flaws in the design or the materials? Positive. I've tweaked and adjusted and replaced every single piece, but it refuses to function as intended. I'm on the verge of tossing the blasted thing over the edge. What do you make of this, Serenia? Something may have happened to the Voidark. Yes, the cause may indeed lie outside the compass itself. We must consider this dilemma from a broader perspective. Might you explain to us the principle by which the ectocompass tracks the Voidark? It all comes down to a ferric signature. I discovered that the Voidark is encompassed by an energy of rather peculiar composition, so I simply tuned the compass to follow its unique trail. An energy of peculiar composition, you say? Of course, the ark was propelled by the siphoned energies of void scent. Could it be that the compass was tracking not the vessel itself, but the ether of the entities imprisoned within? That would certainly explain why the compass now points in a different direction than one would expect. After all, Diabolos and the Shadow Queen are no longer on board of the ark. Are you implying that if we plotted a course based on the readings from the ectocompass, we would arrive on the demon's doorstep, so to speak? Just so, Mistress Utata. Assuming my theory is correct, we no longer require outside assistance to pursue our elusive quarry. Happiness. Oh, Stacy, what perfect timing! You won't believe the wonderful discovery just... Talon airships have been spotted en route to our nest. If it's revenge we're looking for, we'd best head back and make ready for them. Let's do this. I don't like this, Serenia. Why the Talons come here without their captain? Where's Radlia? It would not appear that these pirates have come with murder and pillage in mind. Quite the opposite, in fact. They seem rather bedraggled and beaten. I'm glad you're here, Serenia. I don't think we're spoiling for a fight. Truce, Red Bull. We need your help to save Captain Radlia. You're one of Radlia's favorites. You threatened my crew, steal our compass, and now you come crawling to me for help? What kind of unholy mess have you Cretans stumbled upon? Aye, we took your damn compass, but it didn't show us the ghost ship. We ended up at some moldy old ruins, lousy with void scent. Before we knew it, some sort of spider demon was knocking our ships out of the sky. The two of us managed to pull away, but we saw what happened to them as got caught on the ground. The captain survived the massacre. She's stuck there with no wings to fly out again. Why don't you give that link pearl a listen, Captain? Might be as we can learn if Radia is alive or dead at least. There's so much buzzing. Can't hear blast. Wait. I'm getting some words. They're after Mhach artifact. Damn demons are searching. Hide. And then a bunch of screaming. Seems that Leah is still kicking for now, but who knows for how long. If those screams were an act, then consider me fooled. I don't think the Talons are laying a trap here. I have a mind to leave Radlia to her fate, but I'd never turned my back on an adventure, especially with the scent of treasures in the air. Now tell me where you found these ruins. You'll help us then? You're a good man, Red Bull. We left the captain in the Yafem Saltmoor, just northwest of Mordona. In Yafem, you say? Then you must speak of a ruined shell of Mhach itself. By Shototos Blackheart. Could they be after the Nullstone? What's that, Puss? You think you know what these fiends are after? Right, you tell her, see that these talons are patched up, then have a mill ready to fly. And don't spare me all, you know I love to her purr. So when yes, Stacia, bring a furball to my quarters and we'll have ourselves a chat about our impending trip to old Mhach. So we visit the ruins of the city itself, yeah? Where is it on the map, by the way? Yeah? Swiss? I don't know. Anyway. You know, we've never been friendly with talents, but that don't mean we just sit back and let them be torn to shreds by cackling Voidsent. I never imagined Diabolos would seek to enter the old city, but I should have suspected as much when I learned that the floodwaters had receded and left Yafem exposed. Right, Furball, let's see about this artifact that Diabolos is looking for. If I'm to speak of a Nullstone, then I must first explain the method by which Mhach sorcerers would bind the Voidsent into service. The more powerful the Voidsent, the more difficult it is to manifest its presence in this world. Their own immense strength weighs them down like an anchor, you see, preventing them from breaking the surface of our dimension. And that is why they cooperate with mortal sorcerers. A mage can provide a suitable vessel for the summoning and rip a large enough hole in the fabric of reality for the entity itself to step through. And let me guess, the mage forces the Voidsent to agree to a pact in return for the invitation into our world. That is correct, but it would be foolhardy to expect such devious and malevolent creatures to abide by the spirit of even the most carefully worded contract. Thus did the Magi construct an occult device that would more securely bind the Voidsent to their will. A safeguard of sorts that, to the best of my knowledge, yet lies entombed within the remnants of the ancient city. The Nullstone was seen as a last resort. Should the Voidsent break its pact and turn on its summoners, the mage could use the relic to disperse the very essence of even the most potent entity, obliterating it completely. I can see the royals of the void taking too kindly to a threat like that. Seems those sorcerers were just as ruthless as the monsters were summoned. When it came to the glory of Mhach, the end justified the means. In any event, we can be certain that Diabolos seeks to secure the Nullstone before it falls into mortal hands, and thereby ensure that Scathach will reign unopposed. Alright, so we know what the fiends are after. But what I don't understand is why such a valuable relic was left behind when the mages knew a colossal flood was on the way. Its value was the very reason they chose not to risk its relocation. The Nullstone is kept within a structure constructed for the purpose, secure behind powerful wards and protected by deadly guardians. And with the rising of the waters, they reasoned that the artifact would be sunk along with the city, far beyond the reach of vengeful Voidsent. But now that your fam is more swamp than sea, the demons only have the wards and the guardians to deal with, and I doubt they'd be wasting their time down there in the mud if they didn't have some trick to break through the wards. This become a race to see who can nab the treasure first, which is just the sort of contest a sky pirate lives for. So we slip into the ruins, pinch the relic, then rescue Randia right under the fiends' noses. Well, I suppose we could save her while we're poking around for loot. I'll grab the new compass from Retata so we know where we're going. Check your weapons, pack your small clothes, and meet me out by the landing when you're ready to fly. And I believe this is the moment where... No, once we talk to him. We'll fly directly to your farm from here. Once we arrive, you forge ahead with your band of adventurers as you did on the Ark, Serenia. Just keep slicing into the depths until you reach the Nullstone. I don't want to risk getting knocked out of the sky like a talon, so we'd best land a little ways out from the ruins and head in on foot. The Furber says he knows the place well enough to guide you, so me and the Redbirds will follow behind on rescue duty. You concentrate on smashing a path through to the artifact. We'll check the nooks and crannies for Radley and her crew. Don't let your guard down once you reach the ruins. Well, huh? There's likely golems and such in there what are worse than the fiends outside, and we wouldn't want our hero losing her head now, would we? Now we unlock the Weeping City of Mhach. But we go there next episode, I think. Until then, I am Mace, and don't get lost.